Hello. I wanted to come on here real quick while I'm finishing up my coffee and give you guys a spell. That's a little bit better, isn't it? So I want to give you guys a road opening spell. This is a road opening spell specifically if you are trying to cultivate your gifts, okay? So like if you are trying to, like if you feel stuck in an area, or if you're trying to manifest. Oh, there's a wasp in my house. They're early this year. and Google Google the spiritual meaning of a wasp. That might be significant for somebody. So if you're like trying to cultivate a new gift, like some sort of new clair, or you're working, or if you feel stuck, or if you if there's just something that you want to work on strength, if you want to add strength, if you want to add oomph to what it is that you're trying to do, or ensure that you have a successful journey. All of those are good reasons to do this road opener spell. Now, we're going to be working with runes. There's going to be runes in the salt. There's going to be runes in the candle. And then you have to actually line up the runes in the salt and the candle in a very specific way. Okay, so for the candle, you're going to use Ansu's, which is for communication. And I'll take pictures of these and post them with this post too. And then you're going to use Uru's. It kind of goes down like this, and then instead of like having another sharp angle, it's more of a tapers off, right? So it's kind of like an N, maybe like a falling down archway. Uru's, and that's for power. And then we have Nathiz, Nauthiz, which is need. And then we have Knaz, which is illumination. Okay, now on the salt, you're going to do, we're breaking this up into quadrants. So in each quadrant, and I'll write it on the paper, and then I'll show you on the candle, and I'll show you in the salt as well. Okay, so, but it's going to be 2 runes in each quadrant. And so we have radio. Oh, I spelled that wrong. That's going to bug me if I leave it there. All right. Actually, that's not how you do that either. Good grief. All right. So radio or radio, it's kind of like an R, but it's a little bit more pointy. It has a little bit more spice to it. And that's RAIDHO. And this stands for changes. Now I need you to remember, because this is going to show up later, that each of these runes, they are like a tarot card where they mean different things, or like an oracle card where it can mean multiple things. It doesn't mean, it's a letter of the alphabet, but it is also there's divination meanings to it, and there's multiple meanings. Okay, I want you to keep that in mind. So we have radio, which is changes, and then we have Debo for abilities. And these 2 are going to go together. And then we have Taiwaz, which is strength. And then we have Athla, which is inheritance. And then we have Isa, which is obstacle. And then we have Few, F-E-H-U, which is reward. And then we have Sawillo. I don't think I pronounced that right. And this one, okay, so there is another rune that looks kind of like this. So it's important how you do it. So you make the diagonal, and then you put a line straight across, and then a diagonal, almost like a lightning bolt, okay? And that's S-O-W-I-L-O, and that stands for success. And then remember I said we're going to use radio again? I'm really struggling with how to spell that word today. And that stands for a journey. Okay, now, like I said, you need to pair the runes on the candle with the runes. You have to line them up with the runes on the salt. Okay, so normally when I show you blessings, I tell you the color of the candle doesn't matter, but you could use this one or you could use this one. And like, I'm not super cautious with the color of candles that I do with you guys, right? A lot of times I'll even use like homemade candles for my beeswax. This one, we actually want a specific color. We want the color red. And you want it to be like a pillar candle. It doesn't have to be a large one. So if you have these, and a lot of times you can get these at like occult stores, the tinier candles, you can buy them in bulk on Amazon. And then you're going to write the runes. Now I find it easiest in order to write this and make sure I keep it kind of all separate, is I draw a little marker at the bottom of my candle, okay? And that way it helps me remember where each thing I'm supposed to draw, okay? I find it easier to write it on the candle first and then write it on in the salt, because then you can line it up and I can go, okay, so we have Knees here. So right here is where we're going to put the radio and Gibo sign. You know what I mean? So it's going to look like this. So you're going to have your salt. With your finger, you're going to draw a crossroads, an X, a plus sign, whatever floats your boat. Call it what you want. And then we're going to do radio and Gibo. And then Isa. And then Few. And then down here you're going to do Tiwaz. And then Athla. And that's just like basically an X with a little pointy hat. And then in the last quadrant, you're going to do Sawillo. Oop, I almost did the wrong one. And radio. Okay. These are the ones that you're going to have in the salt. Like I said, I actually think it's easier to do the candle first and then line it up the way that you want it. Just for me, if you can make it the salt and then line it up in your candle, that's okay too. Whatever makes life easier for you. And I'll just put this right underneath so you can compare where they go. So With radio and Gibo, you're going to have Canaz. Okay, so let's say so for Canaz, I would put it like right here, right? And so I just go, okay, here's a little spot for Canaz. I'm going to put that right there. I don't know how well you can see that. Some people put charcoal in their things so you can see it better. For me, in my opinion, a lot of times it's just for aesthetics. I already know it's in the wax, and it's not needed for this, okay? In the next quadrant that you would match with Isa and Few, you're going to put Ansuz. So I would go over and I'd say, oh, here's my little quadrant for Ansuz. And then because I am also a little bit OCD and I like things a specific way, I try and put it pretty close to the same spot. Kind of try and line it up. Not perfect, because we don't need to be perfect. All right. And then I'm going to turn it to the next quadrant. Okay. And so the next thing would be, and honestly, it doesn't matter what order you put these in, it just matters that these are lined up, okay? So for the next one, it's Nathiz, which is a line. It's almost like Gibo, but where Gibo is a straight X, Nathiz is a line straight down, and then you have like a wonky line going through it, okay? So then we have Nathiz. See how similar they look? So then we have Nathiz, which is for need. Do you hear those chickens out there? They're letting their opinions be known. I know my puppies are going to escape the front yard today, so they're blocked out of my yard. That being said, the puppies would leave the chickens alone, but I have to block the puppies from escaping the yard. And then in this bottom one, that's where we're going to put power. And remember, it's lying down, and then it's like a sharp angle, and then it kind of curves over, okay? And that one goes in the last quadrant. So you go and you look at your little thing, and you go, oh, it goes right here. And it also helps to help kind of keep things spaced, because otherwise, like, sometimes we crowd them, sometimes there's not enough space, and then you have to draw it kind of wonky. This just gives you... Okay? So then you have your runes written all the way around. Let me do this, get the silver plate. Do you have to put this on a silver plate? Absolutely not. Silver actually does increase the power of your working. So is it a great idea to go on eBay and get a used silver platter, or like go to Habitat of Humanity and cycle, reduce, reuse? Absolutely, absolutely. Do you have to? No, but it does need to be like heat safe so you can burn a candle on it, okay? Let me go get the salt, and then I will show you how to set the rest of this up.